Hey everybody, Esther Allen. Good to be back. Coming back on, we're going to talk a little bit. I'm going to jump right into it. I talked about my dream about the Trumps the last time. I also want to tell you guys another story that happened during that time. I did have quite a bit of events occur. I had 3 eyewitnesses to 3 separate events. My best friend, my husband, and my brother. And my best friend is an accountant with a fairly large company in Memphis, and she's very credible. People don't seem to think I am, so I would like to really get into that sometime, but that's okay. Suit yourselves. Anyway, so I had an incident in 2018, in the summer of 2018, where I was outside meditating. And while I was sitting there in the backyard meditating, was living with my best friend. She and I lived together during that time. She had a swimming pool in the backyard, and her daughter Erica was back there swimming. And I'm sitting there meditating, and I did not have my phone outside. Otherwise, I would have probably thought to take a picture or video, but at least I had witnesses. Anyway, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I start watching these orbs coming out of the sky out of nowhere, okay? And the orbs are crossing the sky, and they're going into nowhere, nothing. There's nothing they're coming out of and nothing they're going into, but there's like a river of these things. And I'm talking thousands of them, because it was a river of them. And they were just continuously traveling from one side of the sky to the other. And so I watched this for a little bit, and then I finally said, Erica, do you see this? And she looked up and she started making fun of me. She didn't see it. She couldn't see them. I'm like, okay, this is insane. I'm seeing this. And this isn't the first time I've seen things that other people haven't seen or been able to see, but Erica could not see them and I could. So that really kind of troubled me, but it was okay. I was mesmerized by these things. Sometimes they would come down, like one of them would come down and they would stop and land on a branch and sit on the branch for a minute. And I could see it weigh the branch, and then it would pop up off of the branch and go back up into this River of Orbs and continue traveling into nothing, into nowhere, from nowhere. So this was insane. And Erica's mom got home a little bit later. I went in. This did stop. I did watch it dissipate, and it quit. And I went in the house, and I'm all excited about this, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I mean, this really got me. I mean, I was just, wow, this is amazing. What are these things? You know, they look like giant bubbles with a light in the center of them. And what was so interesting is that light would dim and bright and dim and bright, and it was just pulsating, but it was inside of this, what to me looked like a crystal sphere or a glass sphere. Anyway, when my best friend got home, I'm like, Dory, you're not going to believe this. And I started telling her, and then Erica comes in behind me, and she's like, Mom, Esther's seeing fairies. And she's making fun of me again. And I'm like, this is not helping my story. So I kind of let it go, because they both started making fun of me. I didn't blame them, right? So I went to bed that night, and I was really excited. And mind you, I was in a really spiritual place during this time. I went into a purified state for a while. I would love to go back to that. Kind of hard to do when you're living everyday life with everyday people. You literally, if you want to go higher, you have to go alone. There's just no other way. There's no other way. Oh gosh, Sheehan Lee, that's his name. I listened to him, and he says this: if you go higher, you go alone. You can't be with someone or people even. You literally, there are ways to do this on a spiritual and even on a methodical level that will take you higher. And I know this because I experienced some of the what they call magic, but it's really science that just looks like magic. It's all science when you understand the elements you're immersed in. So, excuse me, I needed to take a drink. So anyway, I let it go that night and I went to sleep, and it was really hard to go to sleep that night because I was so excited about these things and I kept thinking about them. I was just in awe of what I saw. If you had seen this, it would have been so unexplainable to you. Well, so anyway, the next morning I woke up to, I heard my best friend, she would go into the garage and smoke her cigarette and drink her tea in the morning. And so I knew she was up and in there. So I jumped up out of bed and I ran into the garage and I sat down and I started trying to tell her the story again. Erica was sleeping, so I knew I could do this without any interruptions. And so I told her the whole story all over again about how these orbs, I was in this deep meditation, and then all of a sudden I looked up and there's these orbs and they're going from out of nowhere into nowhere. And she's just sitting there listening to me, looking at me like, uh-huh. It's not the first time she's heard some of my crazy stories. And I get that. My stories are very different than the normal everyday stories, but I promise you, and you know who you are, there are people out there that have stories just like mine. They just haven't come forward yet because I think they're waiting to see what happens with me, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I'm telling her about this and she's starting to, do the whole yeah, right thing. So I get this wild idea. I'm like, there were thousands of these things. They were about the size of a volleyball. And like I said, they look like bubbles and they had a light in the middle. So anyway, I told her, I said, there might be one back there. I mean, there were thousands of them. There could just be one could show up. I don't know what made me say this or think this, but I got her out of her chair and made her go to the backyard with me. Now, when you go to the backyard, you go out of her garage, you turn and go up a hill. And at the top of the hill, there is an entire flat space up there. And that flat space is, the flat space is open and there's big pine trees around it. So it's like a clearing right there. And as we get to the top, we look, and on the other side, on the other end, there's one of these orbs. I am not kidding you. We don't know where it came from. I don't know how it happened, but it was like they heard me or something. But there's one, and I was saying there's just got to be one, and there's one. And we're staring at it, and it's coming towards us, and it starts to come. It looks like it's just drifting slowly. It comes over the top of our heads. It's about 9 feet in the air. And as that happens, my best friend gets behind it and I get behind her, and she's walking behind it and I'm walking behind her, and she's looking up at it, and I'm like, Dory, do you see it? Do you see it? And she finally says, yes, I see it. And it stops, and then we stop and we're looking up at it, and then it just goes poof. It just, like Dory says, it swallowed itself. To me, it looked like it just popped or something. It just went away. It disappeared. And there was this gray ring around where it was. It left a ring, which was really crazy. We were both in shock. We didn't, but I have that. It was incredible. So she got to see that I wasn't seeing fairies or telling a story, which I do have a fairy story too now. If you look at the picture on my channel, that'll be a start. So anyway, that was the story, and I'm going to have her tell the story. I do have a video of her telling the story for a corroboration, but it did happen, and it was incredible, and I'm very excited about it. As far as anything else goes, I'll have to tell you guys more of those stories later. I think this is a good place to leave off. So I hope everyone has a beautiful day. I'll be back on here. I think we're right at 10 minutes, and that's probably long enough. You guys have a great day. Bye.